One IDF soldier in Lebanon this weekend smashed the head of a statue of Jesus Christ during operations in southern Lebanon. Can you bring up that overlay? Yeah. The fact that this was even able to happen tells you that there are too many arrogant pricks in the IDF in Israel who, like Canada, take the United States for granted. The IDF, let's call balls and strikes here.
Yeah.
Major misstep. And whether you agree with this or not, the perception of Israel is not very good for Israel. And so the case that I am making is that Israel needs to be aware of this, and they need to get their crap together. Otherwise, it's going to validate the criticisms from people. Not that one lone soldier does that, but it means there maybe is a culture that is not as regimented as they need to be. Because Israel only exists, like Canada, largely because of the United States, and a little bit of gratitude wouldn't be out of line here. So this isn't new to you. 18 to 49-year-olds, according to Pew Research, 70% have a negative view of Israel, including 60% of Republicans. That's a big shift. A lot of that is based on misinformation. Quite a bit of it is based on Israel's own actions and their refusal to take responsibility for or accept accountability for those actions. So when your greatest benefactor is a Christian nation, when the only reason that you really exist is because of a distinctly Christian nation, right? If you're the little Satan, Israel, and we're the big Satan, defer to the big Satan. At least make sure that the big Satan still has an interest in you being little Satan, or at least you're not so annoying. I'm using the analogies, of course, of the Islamic. I don't think that any of us are Satan. I think the people saying it are Satan. But let's just go with the Satan analogy because it's fun. This happened. One IDF soldier in Lebanon this weekend smashed the head of a statue of Jesus Christ during operations in southern Lebanon. Can you bring up that overlay? Yeah. And of course, this lit social media ablaze. Now, I want to be clear about what this is and what it isn't. This is not a statement from the government of Israel. This is not indicative of the entire IDF. But they need to be locked down so tight, the IDF in Israel. Like, they should have an orientation meeting on, all right, you all know that we really only have one major ally, the United States, and it's really important that we show them some gratitude. So let's make sure we don't step on any toes. They didn't do that. The fact that this was even able to happen tells you that there are too many arrogant pricks in the IDF in Israel who, like Canada, take the United States for granted. That's why it rubbed me the wrong way. And then there was a response from Israel. I think this was from Netanyahu directly. He said, I was stunned and saddened to learn that an IDF soldier damaged a Catholic religious icon in southern Lebanon. I condemn the act in the strongest terms. It would also be good if he just said a statue of Jesus. It's just weird.
I mean, we know how you feel about him. We're not asking you to convert today. We're just saying, say the name.
Yeah, they made it sound like it was just some any old piece of a church.
Right, yeah.
It's a Catholic thing. I don't know.
Yeah, so I understand. And I'm with you. Rubs me the wrong way. As far as Netanyahu, joke's on him. Rumor has it the statue rose again 3 days later with some unfinished business.
Nothing is over! Nothing!
They like to keep you guessing.
Hey, you know what? They technically did take first blood.
They did.
They drew first blood.
Oh, come on.
Them and the Romans, huh?
President Trump posted this on Truth. He said, whether people like Israel or not, they have proven to be a great ally of the United States of America. They are courageous, bold, loyal, and smart. And unlike others that have shown their true colors in a moment of conflict and stress, Israel fights hard and knows how to win. President Donald J. Trump. Here's the thing that Israel should take into consideration. When Donald Trump goes, the likelihood of you having a president who is going to be in your corner to this degree is 0%. Is 0%. I'm not hearing enough gratitude come out of Israel. I'm hearing, like Canada and like other supposed allies or friends, I'm hearing a lot of taking us for granted. There is no Israel without the United States. That criticism is true, to be clear. If you look at just the number of Jews in Israel and then in the world, they make up 0.2% of the world's population. There are about 7.5 million in Israel. I think they have a total population of around 9 million, 15 million globally, and they are surrounded by hundreds of millions of Muslims who would like to destroy them and haven't because, yes, they are effective at fighting, but also in the modern world because of their alliance with the United States. That needs to be treated with great care, Israel. these kinds of things can't happen, and your statements condemning them need to be quite a bit more forceful and combined with simultaneous gratitude. Little groveling.
Be helpful right now.
Yeah. Little bit.
Just show you care.
Yeah, because
Statements are really easy. You can do statements all day.
I've maintained that I don't like the foreign aid to Israel. I think that Israel has a right to exist. That is my opinion. I think it's a good spot for them. I also think if they want to fight their own wars, we stop the foreign aid. I think they'd probably fare pretty well compared to, and I certainly think there'd be a lot more death. I think that's something people don't take into account. They are partially bridled by our alliance, but they also are largely protected by our alliance. And that has to make sense for us. If you look at the foreign aid going to Israel from 48 to now, 71% of their total foreign aid comes from us. Okay, 71%. And then if you look at the UN, the international community, which may as well just be called whatever Israel does, we'll condemn them for it. We want to do the opposite organization. Half of our vetoes, the United States vetoes, the UN, were used to protect Israel. We have been a good friend to you. I don't think that it's reciprocated as effectively as it needs to be. That's where I am. Anyone?
No, it's 100. I thought you were just going to keep.
No, I didn't just.
That's 100% true. When people make these points that Israel has not done things that an ally typically will do for another country, they're right. You can't argue back against that.
Right.
And when they argue that they drag us into wars, in some cases, they're right by their actions at the very least, if not their influence.
Right.
So we need them to do things that push back on that. And this is just one more. I mean, if this was an isolated incident, I said this before the show, if this was isolated, fine, I get it. I understand how they view Jesus. I disagree with it. I think it's a despicable act, but I expect sinners to sin.
Sure.
Right? But it's a pattern that just continues to happen over and over and over again. Yeah. And it has to stop.
Yeah.
Or they are who other people are claiming they are. That's the only option left.
I also
Either prove you're not or confirm you are.
I'll say something here that will offend undoubtedly some conservative Jews watching, but not the sensible ones. For those who believe, and of course I do as well, I try and argue the pragmatic approach to the issue that we're dealing with, because I know that not all of us share the same foundational religious worldview. But those who believe that there is, for example, a supernatural blessing on the people of Israel. They believe that certain people are chosen and set aside, or they believe that certain nations that worship God, certain nations that honor God will be preferred. Anyone who believes that, do you ever sit and look, because I know a lot of Israelis believe that, and I know a lot of people there in the government believe that. Do you ever sit and look and go, well, wait a second, if we actually subscribe to that, maybe we should ask why the United States is what it is? Maybe the God that they originally were founded to honor and serve, maybe they have something right. If we're going to do the spiritual argument, seems like the United States has a lot of favor. Maybe we should ingratiate ourselves to that. Is that fair? That's a legitimate grievance that I think people have with Israel. I hate Iran more. I do not believe that Israel is a greater threat to world peace than Iran, to be clear. I just don't like being constantly fleeced, as we are internationally. When you look at peace agreements, hey, Israel wouldn't have the Abraham Accord. That wouldn't have happened. Normalizing relations between Israel and neighbors. It's in our interest, but it certainly benefits Israel quite a bit. There happen to be quite a few instances where what benefits the United States in that region of the world undoubtedly benefits Israel. Great. So we probably were going to do something like that anyway. It doesn't mean that some thank you cards are out of order. Israel is screwed without the United States. Mm-hmm. And there can no longer be this pattern of unacceptable behavior. What I want is for whichever administration is in charge, and certainly this one, to make it really, really clear that we are leading the dance. If you don't do that, it gives quite a bit of stock to the critics, saying it looks like Israel is leading us by the nose. I don't believe that's the case. I do believe that they are ungrateful, and that needs to be called out. And I think they need to do a little bit more to make this kind of a relationship reciprocal. That's where I am. And AIPAC can go screw themselves with a wire brush.
As
By the
always,
way,
yeah.
I forgot. I didn't realize I went over time. For those of you who are not yet, and the reason we're able to say these things, people go like, wait, are you pro-Israel? I'm pro-United States. And when the goals are aligned, great. Yeah. When they are not, then we don't do it. We should never do something for Israel at the cost of the United States. Ever. I don't believe that denuclearizing Iran is at the cost of the United States. I believe that would be a net benefit to the United States. Would it be a greater net benefit to Israel? Probably. Probably. That's not the same as some of the actions that we see taken by Israel, potentially compromising our position. And anytime that happens, they need to be condemned. They need to be called out so that people know where this relationship stands. We need to do it with Canada. We need to do it with Israel. We need to do it with the UN. We need to do it with NATO. We need to do it with all of our relationships. We are the ones in charge leading the dance here because we have been footing the bill since the last major global conflict. And until someone else steps up and replaces everything that we have provided, I mean, makes up that gap, which I don't know if any nation ever could, guess what? We get to call the shots. The United States is daddy, and it gets the big piece of chicken because we're the ones who bought the farm. You're still here on YouTube. Remember when we could say whatever we wanted on YouTube and people didn't have to censor out words like gay? See, even that, right? That's not even a swear word. Or the word sex. Even if you're just talking about it, you're not saying anything profane. That's why I live stream on Rumble 5 days a week. Go subscribe over there on Rumble, where you get the live show every single day. If you're still using this archaic form of delivery for information on YouTube, I don't want to judge, but your father hates you.